Hi, and welcome to this PyxisGC tutorial video. In this video, I'll show you the Autocheck features and how to set up, and the calibration database. So if your instrument has a full optional model with the Autocheck cylinder, you can set up the parameters here in calibration and then scheduled check standard settings. This window will open up. So in the first part, here on top, you can schedule an automatic auto-check that will be done with a Tallwind span gas bottle that is included in the cabinet. You can choose the frequency, basically on a daily basis, weekly, or monthly. Let's say that we want to do it every week on a Sunday. And you can set up the time as well. Let's say that 10:30 is okay. So here at the bottom you will see that the next calibration is due on the 6th of October. Then at the bottom you have to set the cylinder and the type of measures that you want. So you can choose the cylinder. In this case we only have the Tallwind. As explained in previous videos, the database for span cylinders can be set in the settings menu. And also you need to set the number of measures that are made and the last measure for average. In this case we will use 3 calibration cycles and we will just take the last measure for the calibration. Here in the Tallwind you have to set the response factor deviation range. This means that if the drift of the instrument is within the plus or minus 4%, this measure will be acceptable and the calibration will not be updated. If the drift is above 4%, then the instrument automatically will update the calibration of the detector. If you do not want this, you can come back here and do not update response factor during check standard. So basically the instrument will just run the auto check, giving you the report, but will not automatically update the measurements. You can also force an auto check if you want, so not a scheduled one, but a manual auto check. Hit this button here. Now, if I try to press it, the instrument will give me an error because the instrument it is running. So in order to force an auto check, the instrument must be stopped and in status ready. If you perform a manual auto check, then you can also check the last report. So here it will appear the report for the auto check used. Finally, as a calibration database, here are saved all the chromatograms that are used, that have been used for calibration. So for example, I will just look for the chromatograms that have been made during this week. I press search and here you will see the date and time of the calibration and the mode. In this column you see that it can be an M, a R or A. As written in the manual, basically R is the reference calibration, the one that was made manually with the external gas tank and with all the 4 BTEX compounds. The A is the automatic check standard, so that you have scheduled, while the M is a manual check standard that you have forced. It is also written if the calibration is valid or not. This is just applied to auto check, and basically there are several ways why a calibration would not be valid. For example, the check standard cylinder is empty, or the cylinder used is expired, or the new response factor has drifted too much. So if the drift is very high, normally above 12%, this is something that is a factory setup, the instrument will give you an error, will stop, and the calibration will not be valid. So by pressing on further details here, you can see actually all this information. So basically you have the 3 chromatograms that have been used as an auto check, and it tells you if the method has been updated, You have also the response factor absolute drift, which in this case is the difference between this autocheck and the reference type. And also the response factor relative drift, that basically is the difference between this autocheck and the previous valid one.
Pollution analytical equipment, the answer to your on-site detection challenges.